राधा माधवा कुंजा विहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंजा विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना तीरवनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंजा विहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंजा विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना तीरवनचारी राधा माधवा कुंजा विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना तीरवनचारी राधा माधवा कुंजा विहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे देव राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय गौरनिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद निताय गौर प्रमानंदे हरि हरि बोल एवं विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राज काचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश्री श्रीमद देसी भक्ति वेदांत संशोपाद की जाए। एवं विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राज काचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश्री श्रीमद श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस ठाकुर गोस्वामी रूपाद की जाए। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जाय। नवाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जाय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। श्री राधा कृष्ण गो गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जाय। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जाय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जाय। श्री क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जाय। गंगमय यमुनमय की जाय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जाय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जाय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जाय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरि हरि बोल। ऑल glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All jai. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nidrama नमस्ते सारस्वत देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय। थैंक यू ऑल फॉर जॉइनिंग दिस क्लास। हैप्पी विजयदशमी, हैप्पी दशहरा, हैप्पी रामचंद्र Vijayotsav. Different names are there in different parts of the world. There may be more names, but anyway, we are discussing today chapter 4 titled Transcendental Knowledge, Bhagavad Gita, verse number 6, 7 and 8. So, 4.6. Ajopi san avyayatma bhutanam iswaropi san prakritim swam adhisthaya sambhavami atmavayaya. Ajopi san avyayatma bhutanam iswaropi san prakritim swam adhisthaya sambhavami atmamaya. Ajopi san avyayatma bhutanam iswaropi san prakritim swam adhisthaya sambhavami atmamaya. Aja, unborn, api, although, son, being so, avyaya, without deterioration, atma, body, bhutanam, of all those who are born, Iswaraha, the Supreme Lord, api, although, son, being so, prakritim, in the transcendental form, swam, of myself, adhisthaya, being so situated, sambhavami, I do incarnate, atma maya, by my internal energy. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Repeat. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Verse number 7, chapter 4, verse number 7. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyudhanam adharmasya tadatmanam srujamyaham. These two are very famous verses. Everybody should know this. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyudhanam adharmasya tadatmanam srujamyaham. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyudhanam adharmasya tadatmanam srujamyaham. Yada yada, whenever and wherever, he certainly, dharmasya, of religion, glani, discrepancies, bhavati, become manifested, bharata, O descendant of Bharata, abhyudhanam, predominance, dharmasya, of religion, tada, at that time, atmanam, self, srujami, manifest, aham, I. Translation. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. Repeat, whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of religion, at that time I descend myself. So, this is 4.7. Next verse is 4.8. परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे. परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे. परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे. Paritrāṇāya, for the deliverance, sadhunam, of the devotees, vināsāya, for the annihilation, cha, and dushkrutam, of the miscreants, dharma, principles of religion, samsthapanardhaya, to re-establish, sambhavami, I do appear, yuge, millennium, yuge, after millennium, translation, to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion. I myself appear millennium after millennium. To deliver the pious and to annihilate miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion. I myself appear millennium after millennium. So we'll try to understand what is meted. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यईश्वरं. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्. श्री रूप गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर भक्तवृंद की जय. Thank you. So today is being Vijayadashmi, and also this is the 10th day, this is after Navaratri. Just quickly we will run through that, understand what is the significance. Festival means it is to recollect and absorb ourselves, and recollect and remind ourselves to be a servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the main purpose of festivals. So, and it has the significance. Each festival brings a different significance and different instructions. So, we'll try to understand that, and then we'll come to Bhagavad Gita, and it is related also, as we can see today. Why? So, here, maybe let me give you the overview so that way we understand. Fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita is called Transcendental Knowledge. Because what is the reason why Krishna had to speak this transcendental knowledge? So this is Arjuna was lamenting, sat down on the chariot. He is supposed to fight. He asked Lord Krishna to bring the chariot in between the armies, especially in front of Bhishma and Drona. He offered his throw his arrow to offer his obeisances to both of them, respected teachers and grandfather. They also give the blessings, Dronacharya and Bhishma Pitama, to be successful, victorious. After that, suddenly seeing all the army on the battlefield on both sides, all relatives are there on both sides, and different grades of relatives, then immediately he was lamenting. That was the chapter 1 of Arjuna Vishada Yoga. So at the end of that chapter, after seeing all these, his own kinsmen, he said, I don't want to, he gave his reasons. He didn't want to do his duty because of this condition. He was overwhelmed with a certain ignorance. And then he gave his reasons why he doesn't want to do. That is, he doesn't want to fight because of compassion, for only for his living, for his family members, not for rest of the whole living entities, praja, in his kingdom. And then next one is he's telling, I don't want to fight because there is sinful activity. My own family, not my own family. It is a sinful activity to kill, especially even though they might be aggressors. But Bhishma and Drona, they are my teachers. They are my grandfathers. How can I kill them? So he's asking even Krishna, you didn't kill Sandeep, why are you asking me to kill? So destruction of dynasty, there is no enjoyment. If I'm going to kill, then whom I'm going to share this opulence with? What is the use of me conquering or winning? So there is no use of fighting. So destruction of dynasty, sinful activity, destruction of dynasty, unwanted population. This way, so many reasons for not fighting, not doing his duty. He gave all his morality, very basic level. He has given his own thoughts, but that is at very basic level. This is not expected a person like Arjuna, who's coming from Kshatriya, who is supposed to be at much more higher level, not at this very low level. So that's when the first chapter stops, ends with Arjuna lamenting, sat down on the chariot. And the second chapter beginning, then Arjuna was crying, tears flowing down. Visidantam vidam vakyam vacha madhusudan. So then Krishna chastised him. He didn't give any instruction. At that time, they are both talking like friends. So that is another point Bhagavad Gita brings. Until one comes to a point that he wants to understand exactly what's going on, why I have to suffer, why am I in this material world, why I'm here, why somebody is suffering, somebody is enjoying, why somebody is not even working, but he's still having nice facilities, everything, he's getting more promotions, more salary, more, so many things he has, but I don't have. He doesn't even work. I'm putting so much effort, but it's not happening. So the questions must arise. Then when there is a sincerity and inquisitiveness, Atato Brahma Jignasa, then the second chapter begins. That's what is happening with Arjuna. Arjuna surrenders. Until that, the super soul as Paramatma is sitting in everybody's heart, even as a Paratheist also, But it will not open up. It will not instruct. It will not give you any guidance, because that is the nature of the soul. Is has free will. The living as Supreme Lord has given the free will for you to decide what you want to do. If you want to be just go on with your own ideas and thoughts, but not progress further, not understand why things are happening a certain way, then Lord sitting as Paramatma, it is mentioned, Ishvara sarvabhutanam hruddeshorjana tishtati. Brahma sarvabhutani yantra rodani maya. It is like a machine. So, like a car we are driving. So, you might be sitting on the back seat, somebody is driving. So, it is like that. So, somebody is watching, passenger and driver. So, this body and soul is there. So, body is like a machine, car, and soul is the driver of that machine. Without a driver, car cannot walk. And then there is another person sitting as Paramatma watching what's happening. So, but he will guide only if he asks, if he really wants. That is the Paramatma's duty. So that's why it is mentioning Isvara Sarvabhutanam. He is there in all living entities. Hriddeshorjana Testati. He is there sitting as a eating bird and watching bird. So, as he will watch, but one who is inquisitive, then he will start instructing. So that's what second chapter begins, when Arjuna realizes that he is not a friend anymore. I am suffering here, I need guidance. He didn't turn to anybody else. He knows exactly that whom to turn to. Then he turned to Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. In 2.7, Arjuna surrenders to Krishna as spiritual master. He made Krishna as spiritual master. 2.7, that is the biggest first step. When he has inquiry, when he has submission, when he has surrender, when he is looking for something greater, beyond his own ideas, thoughts, abilities, then you look towards Supreme Lord to gain the transcendental knowledge. So in chapter 2, that's why it's called Contents of Gita summarized. So Krishna, once he surrendered, Krishna has given the knowledge of first to remove his doubts, immediately to dispel his reasons, dispel his doubts, 5 doubts he expressed. So Krishna started giving second chapter systematically, Sankhya Yoga, which means body and soul difference, explaining you are not this body, you are the spirit soul. He spoke almost 20 or 30 verses from 2.11 all the way to 2.30. Then he talked about Sankhya, after Sankhya Yoga explaining about you are not the body or the spirit soul. Then he talked about karma, your duty. Forget about all this body and soul. What happened to your duty? You are not performing. You gave up your duty. If you don't do your duty, actually that's when you incur sinful activity. So it's the other way. You are talking wrong. So then he talked about karma yoga basically, 30 to 40. Then from 40 later on, he is talking about Nishkama Karma Yoga. Gradually, he is bringing step by step, very systematically. So he basically described the whole Bhagavad Gita in a very condensed way in chapter 2. That's why the second chapter 2 is called Contents of Gita Summary. Sankhya Yoga are also called Jnana Yoga, body and soul mainly, anatomy of the body and soul. Then the Karma Yoga, activity, one must perform duty, that is stressing. Then he talked about Nishkam Karma Yoga. Oh, then, okay, now you understand you have to do the duty, but don't be attached to results. Then Nishkam Karma Yoga, that is what, then from 41 to all the way to 55. Then Arjuna has a first and foremost question of, then you are talking about, you have to use your intelligence, and then you have to depend. He is also talking about glimpses of Bhakti Yoga. And so then he didn't understand who is that self-realized soul, who is that prajna, who is the intelligent person who acts like this. Then he is asking that question. How does he walk? How does he sit? What is his qualities? 2.55, Arjuna is asking the first and foremost question, important question. Who is that self-realized soul? What is his qualities? How can I identify so that I know whether I am following that or not? I have that characteristics, whether I can develop. How can I develop? If I know, then I can detect myself what's going on, where I am, what is my position, and then I can try to develop myself, personality development to come to that level. So that's what 2.55, the last almost 14 verses 55, 56 to all the way till 72, Samadhi, last section. So Sankhya Yoga, Karma Yoga, Nishkam Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga / Samadhi. That is how the chapter 2 is given. Once Arjuna asked question, surrendered, and then he is asking question, then Krishna started giving instruction from 2.11. Until that there is no instruction. Before that Krishna only chastised him. How did these impurities come upon you in 2.23? So he didn't give any, but only when he surrendered. That is the first important step in Bhagavad Gita. So one must turn towards the Supreme Lord for guidance. Then he will send devotees, then he will arrange so many different ways, giving books, and so many different ways he can turn. We may not even realize much later. So what things are happening in our life. So that is the Supreme Lord is doing because of our inquisitiveness. So turning towards him. So then the third chapter begin when, as the second chapter ending, Krishna ended. Then third chapter beginning, then again Arjuna has a doubt. You're asking, your instructions are equivocal. So I couldn't understand. You think you are stressing on intelligence. If you think that intelligence is better than fruity work, why are you asking me to engage in this ghastly warfare? That was the question, third chapter. Arjuna is asking Krishna. This is the second question. First question 2.55, then second question, third chapter beginning, Arjuna is asking. Then Krishna stressed the talking about Karma Yoga. Third chapter mainly, third chapter, fifth chapter, fourth chapter also, but more he has to give. Third chapter and fifth chapter are talking about Karma Yoga. First 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita is mostly, predominantly, Krishna is stressing karma, action. Middle 6 chapter talking about Bhakti, and last 6 chapter talking about Jnana, knowledge. That is the predominant in these 18 chapters division. So in the, anyway, third chapter, Krishna is talking about karma yoga, stressing gradually one must engage in sacrifice, one must do his duty. Nobody should be idle. That's how Krishna stresses that work in devotion or renunciation of work. That is the actual question. And 3.1, Arjuna is asking that question is, which one is better, work in devotion or renunciation of work? Krishna told work and devotion is better than renunciation of work. Nobody can be idle. Free mind means idle mind is devil's advocate. So that's why. So one must utilize it. One must use it in Krishna's service, engage. So that's what Krishna is stressing, work and devotion. So then gradually it brings why one must has to work and why one must offer the results, why one must connect to the Supreme Lord, his work, otherwise it causes bondage. And he brings all that. Even while eating, one must offer that food to Krishna and then eat, otherwise it causes bondage. So Krishna is talking about all that into third chapter. Then Arjuna asks a question again in the later section. That there are 4 sections in third chapter also. Because of time, I will not go into great detail. So third question, Arjuna is asking that why somebody is forced to act in a certain way, why somebody is forced to act in this sinful activity, even though why somebody is forced to act sinfully. So, sinfully. So, even though he is not wanting to, but somehow or other by force, it is like, what is the reason? That was the question, important question. After going through this activity, karma, engaging in duty, work, and offering the results, why still somebody is engaged in sinful activity? Then Krishna said, this is because kama and krodha, lust, kama and krodha, anger. These two, because of these 2 reasons, one is engaged in this, one is being forced to act in this sinful way. Kama yesha krodha yesha rajoguna samadva, mahasano mahapapma, buddhiyam vairina. Because of this kama and krodha, lust and anger is devouring, it is causing a great, it is devouring the living entity, causing great disturbance. So we must sharpen, we must purify that by sharpening our intelligence. That is how the chapter 3 ends. That's when the chapter 4 begins. That's why Krishna is talking about Transcendental Knowledge chapter 4, because in the third chapter ending, Krishna is stressing you must sharpen your intelligence, because above senses, the lust is situated. That is the important point we discussed in this first section of this chapter 4 also. The simple activity, what is the main root cause, is disobedience. Deliberate disobedience to the Supreme Lord. Deliberate disobedience. So that's when the simple activity is coming. So we basically we want to enjoy separately from the Lord. We want to engage in whatever we like. There is no following rules. If you don't follow the state laws, country laws, city laws, what will happen? There is no way you can go about it. Then they will punish you. They will give you fine and whatnot. So you cannot do anything. So that's why the same way you can avoid state laws, country laws, or tax, all these things, but you cannot go above. You cannot hide from the Supreme Lord. That is not possible, because everything Lord is aware of what's going on. Even if you hide, even if you are cheating, still Lord is aware. So that's why Krishna is bringing the transcendental knowledge topic. One must understand this transcendental knowledge very carefully. So let me give you the chapter 4. Transcendental knowledge is divided into 5 sections. First to 10th verse, today we are discussing. This is still first section. It is called Transcendental Knowledge about Lord Krishna. Also, it is also called Secret Identity of Lord Krishna. This is the first section, 1 to 10. And the second section is 11 to 15. It is talking about practical application of transcendental knowledge, or applying transcendental knowledge, or also called goal of all paths and creator of one ashrama system. It is also can be termed as reciprocation of reciprocation of the Lord. In this third section is from 16 to 24, understanding karma on the platform of jnana. So, because this is transcendental knowledge, as I mentioned, first 6 chapters are more predominantly talking about karma. But to do certain activity without binding, one must have transcendental knowledge. So then 5th chapter begins after transcendental knowledge. So that's why 16 to 24, third section is understanding karma on the platform of jnana. It also is analyzing karma yoga. Then the 4th section is 25 to 33. Sacrifices lead to transcendental knowledge. And then it also means results and comparisons of various sacrifices. And they also can be termed as sacrifices on the platform of jnana. That is the 4th section, 25 to 33. And the last section, 5th section, is 34 to 42 verses. Is talking about conclusion or results of cultivating transcendental knowledge. Why should I take transcendental knowledge? That's what he's talking about in those 34 to 42. And summary of, or it is can be called as summary of transcendental knowledge or glories of transcendental knowledge and qualifications required. Now we are discussing the chapter 4, first section, which is transcendental knowledge about Lord Krishna. Why he appears? What is his position? What is form looks like? So why, when he appears, why he appears? All those details are given in this first section. So before that, we'll just quickly discuss about the Ramachandra Vijayotsava Dasara. So Dasara is represented, one meaning is called Dasa, means 10, Hara means defeat. Defeating especially the demons situated in our heart, demoniac mentality, unwanted qualities, in another way. That is the 6 things we know. That is Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada and Matsarya. Lust, anger, greed, illusion or attachment, Moha. Mada means arrogance, pride, Matsarya, hatred, jealousy. Then, so also false ego, Ahankara. That is the first problem. Enviousness and false ego. Icha and Dvesha. Dvesha is this coming from false ego. Real ego means I am servant of Krishna. Part and parcel of Krishna, I am servant of Krishna. That is the actual. That is also coming up in this section, today's verses. Dharma. What is Dharma is also related to the same aspect. Dharma is not just simply religion or faith. So that is actually different. What exactly Dharma means, we'll come to that. There is Ahankara. So one who has false ego, that is also we have to come transform ourselves from false ego to real ego. That is also these 10 things, especially Ravana is being killed today. Evil over, so conquering the evil, conquering these bad elements, victory over these bad elements, unwanted qualities. So that is representing Ravana, who is having 10 heads. Lord Ramachandra has killed Ravana. He became victorious. Victory over these 10 qualities, that is what is representing indirectly. So our mind, our intelligence, all these must be, our consciousness must be purified. All these senses, mind, intelligence, ego, this consciousness, all these places, these 10 things, the 6 qualities are situated in senses, mind, intelligence, ego. So they must be purified. So these 10 things must be purified to become pure. So that is the main idea. And then why it is Navaratri? Further, we have many instructions here. We come to the Vijayadashami. What are the main instructions Lord Ramachandra is teaching? So Navaratri is 9 nights. What exactly these 9 nights represent? 9 nights represent, and there are 3 divisions in here. First 3 days, actually it is especially they do the lot of puja and sacrifices in the night also. So basically to remove the darkness or ignorance, especially the night time, because to overcome the ignorance, to mode of the darkness, tamoguna. So there is a first, because you have to prepare for the festival, prepare for the day, and then you have to purify yourself with a certain process. And then you have to develop realization, and then there is celebration. This is how it goes. So the first 3 days, there is a destructive elements. What we have, those must be removed. That's why Lord Durga, Goddess Durga Devi is worshipped the first 3 days, first 3 nights, basically. So that's Navaratri, first 3 sections. So destroying the unwanted things, especially. She is called as Durgati Harini, one who removes to relieve one's destructive tendencies, desiring separately from the Lord, lust, that is passion, passion for the not for serving the Lord, but to enjoy ourselves, anger, greed, all these unwanted as 10 things we discussed. Then the positive. After 3 days, then the next section comes. We worship Lakshmi Devi. The next, the fourth, fifth, sixth day. That is the second set of second section. That is bringing positiveness, positive energy. So Lakshmi Devi is bringing good qualities, developing good qualities: love, goodness, passion, compassion, forgiveness, cooperation, devotion, purity, non-violence. All these aspects. Okay. Then the last one, last 3 days is talking about Saraswati is being worshipped. Goddess Saraswati. First 3 days, Goddess Durga is worshipped to remove the demoniac mentality, unwanted qualities. Then Goddess Lakshmi is worshipped for the next 3 days. Second set. The last 3 days, Goddess Saraswati is worshipped. Saraswati is then giving, after coming to at least, to this level, then she is giving that intelligence, knowledge, wisdom. We must have proper intelligence, proper knowledge. Then the wisdom, the realized knowledge. So then one can, she's tuning our mind, tuning our intellect, tuning our consciousness in this way. So this is how these Navaratris, 9 nights, are being described. One significance of these 9 days celebration. So now coming to Vijayadashmi. So Lord Ramachandra is teaching many lessons. Lord Ramachandra conquering Ravana. So it happened for so many. It didn't happen all of a sudden in one day. So much has happened. So if we look at Ramayana, is teaching these many instructions, but I picked up only few. We'll discuss that. First one is talking about how this whole Lord Ramachandra leaving to forest. It happened. It is teaching us. First one is the power of bad association. So whom to associate, whom not to associate. We have to have a discretion. We have to use. That will come when we have the proper, when we sharpen our intelligence from Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. We have to hear, we have to read in the association of devotees. Then gradually we know exactly what to do, what not to do, what is right, what is not right. Otherwise, we will not know. We will not be able to do the distinction. So everything will be okay. We will not know. So that is the power of bad association. Mantra. Because of association mantra, Kaikeyi has made the choice all of a sudden for Bharat Maharaj to rule, to be the king, and Lord Ramachandra had to go to forest. So that is the first one. Second one is the attachment to service. Lord Ramachandra is showing by how to be. It is not attached to the position, but attachment to the service. Lord Ramachandra is showing attachment to service to his father, to his spiritual master, Vishwamitra, comes and takes Lord Ramachandra, even though Dasharatha Maharaj was so attached. So still goes, and then Lord Ramachandra serves. Vishwamitra follows his orders, instruction, takes guidance and instructions. So that is again, so Lord himself is showing how to be attached to the service, not to the position. Otherwise, he could have sat on the throne. He could have rejected why I should go to forest. But he is showing all the time throughout Ramayana attachment to service. So even teeny service, anybody doing throughout Ramayana, you see Lord exemplifying each and every service of each and every personality. In Ramayana, we see whoever is interacted with, whether it's Hanuman, Jambavan, Sugriva, Vibhishan, so so many personalities, Jatayu, Shabari, so many personalities, each and every person, Lord Ramachandra gave his association, blessing, mercy, compassion by seeing their quality of this attachment to service. even a little bit squirrel also. So many personalities. The third aspect is showing mission of life, goal of life. So, especially it is the vanquishing the demoniac tendencies in our heart, and then actually what is the goal of life? That is what it is showing also. The fourth one is alertness in spiritual life. If you are not alert, then what will happen? When when did Lord Ramachandra leave? When Ayodhya Vasis were sleeping. At that time, Lord Ramachandra left. Because they have developed so much attachment. Indirectly, it is signifying, it is showing that one must be alert, one must not be sleepy, not just sleeping. That sleeping is also ignorance. It also means ignorance, tamogun. Ignorance of our own position, our identity, our relationship with the Supreme Lord, our duty to serve the Supreme Lord, understanding our position and relation and acting on that. If you are negligent, if you are not careful enough, if you are not alert, then inattentive, then then we will lose our actual goal of life, and we will not even get human birth in the next life. So that is another important lesson that Kena Upanishad also discussed, that it's like a razor edge. If you don't not careful enough, then it's a problem. It causes, we make offenses against spiritual master, realized souls, stalwart devotees, then finished. So we have to be very careful. Then fifth one is saintly persons sometimes may cause pain, but it is to benefit others, not to hurt them, rather benefit. Just like the Bharat Maharaj disowning Kaikeyi, or Prahlad Maharaj disregarding Hiranyakasipu, showing that sometimes so many we see that sometimes sages curse, but that is actually benefit. So Parikshit Maharaj being cursed, many we see that, but still everybody gets benefit, even though he may have to suffer for some time. Sometimes they may have to go through difficulty. But so that's why we have to take the association, even if it is difficulty, you have to take the as a blessing. Even somebody, a saintly person may cause pain, but still it is for our benefit. Then the sixth one is, goal is to please the Lord. Our goal must be to please the Lord. Just like Bharat Maharaj, as just to please Lord Ramachandra. Otherwise, he didn't want to rule the actual Ayodhya. When Lord Ramachandra left, there is nobody to rule. Then Bharat Maharaj has to take. He didn't want to rule. Actually, he came to meet Lord Ramachandra. But then Lord told, no, you have to rule. And then he took Padukas of Lord Ramachandra and took and ruled. So like that, one must, goal is to please the Lord. Even though we are not in a position to perform the duty, or we don't like to do certain service, still we must do service even if it is difficult, even though it may not be so pleasing, we may not be interested, still we must do service. We must do service to please the Supreme Lord and the spiritual master. So that is an important lesson Bharat Maharaj is showing that. The next one is Lord is the proprietor, and we have to be instrument or the caretaker. Like Bharat Maharaj ruling the kingdom on behalf of Lord Ramachandra. So he is not the proprietor, he is not the owner, is the Lord. So we have to act always in that position. Sometimes we forget that position, that as soon as some position is given, or as soon as some property or some money or opulence, something comes, then we forget. If things are not working, then we go to God, then we surrender, we remember when there is a problem. But when everything is going good, then we don't want God, we don't remember, we forget Him. So, or we take it for granted. So that's why we have to be very careful. Then the next point is tolerating the provoking situations. Tolerating provoking situations. So we have to be very also cognizant of this fact. Bhagavad Gita is also teaching. Matras prasasta konte sitoshna Krishna is, Lord Krishna is stressing. You must tolerate. So even Brahma, when he is creating, he has to tolerate. Tapo Divyam, Lord Rishabhadev, before asking his sons to get married and rule the kingdom, he told first he had to go and perform austerity. We must perform, we must tolerate, we must perform austerity. That austerity in this age is to chant, wake up in the morning and chant the holy name. Austerity to read Bhagavad Gita, austerity to take only Krishna. This is austerity. This is the actual real austerity. So because we don't like to do, because many lifetimes we have passed in not doing this, so obviously our mind, our intelligence, our senses are not want to do this. So it wants to do other things against the actual real instructions, real injunctions of Shastra. So that you have to tolerate, and in a provoking situation especially, others may give you so much, may provoke you. Others may not be following this. Others may try to, just this time you come and eat. Come with us, we'll go to movie. Come with us, let's eat, let's go here, there. Or sometimes they may provoke you into so many things. The situation may provoke. Whole Ramayana we see many provoking situations, but still one must tolerate. So one must tolerate. So then that will lead to them. That's what is also Lord Brahma is teaching us. One who is tolerating the difficulties, tolerating the what different pains and pleasures is getting as he execute his duties, bhakti. Then for him liberation is guaranteed. For him, he can reach the goal. He can attain Vaikuntha. Tattein kampam susamikshmano bunjana evatma pratam vipagam hridvagam apuvir vedadan namaste mukti pade sadayava. Satyan anukampa means you must be very compassionate, you must be very tolerant, you must be patient. So many difficulties will come, so many provoking situations come, whether it's Hanuman, so many things will come, but we must be we must be tolerant. So that is the lesson. The next one is bhakti cannot be achieved by deception. So that we have to be very careful. Deception is not going to work. It is mentioned greed and lust never satiated. This greed and lust will lead to arrogance and envy. So Ravana wanted Sita Devi. So what he got Maya Sita. That also he couldn't enjoy. He couldn't get anything. He took Maya Sita, but still he couldn't actually do anything what he wanted. So later on. And then he has to suffer great consequence because of that. He never learned a lesson. Actually, he never learned a lesson. That is coming up. Yeah. That is here only, I think. Yeah. Bhakti cannot be, we can see, so, I think, yeah, further down, coming up, that also. Not by deception. Devotee means one must be simple and honest. That is very much needed in devotion service. Otherwise, it is very difficult to progress in devotion service. If you are not simple and honest. Through deception, we can never understand. Krishna will be the great cheater. One who wants to cheat with devotees, one who wants to do by deception, then it's no progress. No progress. He cannot move inch. So the next instruction is coming up is Maya knows our weaknesses. Just like so Ravana is using Sita Devi. Sita Devi lies to serve sadhus. So he is coming in the form of a sadhu. And then she disobeyed the orders of Lakshmana. So Lakshmana told, he draw a line, don't go beyond this at any cost. But Ravana knows that. So sometimes Maya traps us. Maya gives where is our weakness, then Maya may try to indulge us in. So we have to be very careful, we have to be very strong. So that's why we need association of devotees, we need mercy, we need to serve, we need to hear, we need to chant. All this process is needed. Then we'll be protected and shielded. Otherwise, Maya can sneak in at any time. So So that's why, so we have to be very careful. Then next one is obstacles on the path of bhakti. We discussed this before also. Obstacles on the path of bhakti. Hanuman had to face three main personalities in the form of Mainaka and Surasa and Simhika. When you have a goal, sometimes, oh, let's enjoy this, let's enjoy that. So, like that, Mainaka was showing, sit, relax for some time. I promised before, you are supposed to sit here. And so, Mainaka, but he has a great goal to achieve. He has to get things done. He doesn't have time. So, somehow, you understand, then he didn't pay attention so much. And immediately, somehow, came out from that mind. Went on to Surasa and Simhika, showing also different difficulties. So different kinds of allurement. All these three different demons, different personalities. These are obstacles on the path of bhakti. So we have to understand, and then we have to enthusiasm and patience and determination. These three things. With that, we will be able to conquer. Then the next one is the last one in this list. Arrogance cannot understand the well-wishers. This is also important point. So when we are proud, or, when we think we are intelligent. So Ravana was thinking that Mandodari was envious of Mother Sita. So actually he was the envious of Lord Ram. So Ravana was thinking in this way. Vishnu was disloyal. In this way he was thinking about each and everyone. Mandodari was instructing. Vibhishna was instructing. But he thought he is disloyal. He went to the other camp. He is doing, so taking things from here and helping others. So this is what he is disloyal. Rather than he was. So when we think we know, we are not willing to listen to good counsel, then spiritual progress gets checked. So that's why we must be simple and honest. Then we can understand. We'll be able to listen. We'll be able to get the good counsel. Otherwise, there is no way we can progress, because then the other devotees cannot guide you. You will not even know that you think you have better knowledge than them. Why do you need to hear from others? So this is the biggest problem. So in this way, there are many. I just pointed out few from here, from Vijayadashmi, from Lord Ramachandra. And Lord Ramachandra is showing, so one who surrenders unto him, then that is the essence, that is a huge essential verse of Ramayana is that Sakrudeva Prapanno es tavasme che achate abhayam sarvada tasme dadami etat vratam mama. This is the main key verse, one verse from Ramayana, the essential verse. There is one who surrenders to Lord Ram at any time, even if he is enemy. Vibhishan, they thought was enemy, is coming from the other camp. Why is he coming? And different people have different ideas, thoughts expressed, but Lord Ramachandra knew. So he gave his shelter. So as soon as, because he surrendered, Vibhishan wants to surrender, then immediately accepted. Lord didn't doubt his surrender. Sakrudyeva Prapanna means surrender. Tavasme yachate. As soon as he surrendered, then immediately Dadameda Vratamama. So immediately he is giving his full assurance, 100%. Abhayam Sarvada Tasmai. Sarvada, all the time. My full protection is always there for those who have surrendered. So that's why we can see from so many examples from Srimad Bhagavatam also, Bali Maharaj. Even though he is pushed to Patal, but that position is completely different. It's not. He has a separate planet. He was in Lord himself is standing outside. Nobody can touch, do anything. Ravana tried to do something. With Bali Maharaj's kick, he was all the way thrown out from there. Ravana also tried to do something with Bali Maharaj. So Bali Maharaj is not an ordinary person, great devotee, extraordinary strength. So anyway, so these are the quick instruction. Now coming back to this chapter, already 757. Wow, and it looks like on this topic itself is over. Anyway, coming back quickly on this chapter 4, Transcendental Knowledge. In these verses, we're discussing verse number 6. Is talking about Ajopi san abhyatma bhutanam iswaropi san sambhavami atma maya. So, verse number 5 is talking about verse number 5 as first verse number 1, 2, 3 as we are discussing. Krishna is talking about one must receive, one must the kings. He's talking about he's bringing the parampara. This knowledge, this Bhagavad Gita has spoken not just you, has spoken before to sun god Vivaswan. Then he spoke. Vivaswan spoke to Ikshvaku, and then he spoke to sun god Vivaswan spoke to his own son actually. And then Vaivasvata Manu, that is Manu means Vaivasvata Manu in the first verse. Then Ikshvaku, then further coming down in the line in that way. So, but knowledge is lost now. So, I am making you the disciplic succession. I am giving you this transcendental knowledge. Evam parampara praptam rajarshi, evam rajarshi vidu. Why he has to speak to the kings? Why is he bringing? Because Arjuna is from Kshatriya dynasty. He is coming from great family, great dynasty. Bharata is also speaking in this. He is 8, 9 also. Yada yada hi dharmasya glane bhavati Bharata. Bharata dynasty. That means he has a great credibility. And because the leaders must have this transcendental knowledge, Rajarshis, so that because they can protect the living entities from material bondage to lust. That is the main instruction from the first few verses. Kings must, the leadership position, whether it's father or mother or guardian, teacher, all of them must be given transcendental, must receive, must regularly understand, receive this transcendental knowledge in the association of devotees. That is the important instruction. So, Shastra is giving Janani nasasyat, Pita nasasyat, Guru nasasyat, Guru nasasyat, Namochayet. So, one must not become a father or mother or a teacher or a guru or guardian unless he can deliver his dependents. So that is the instruction. So one must deliver his dependent. How can he deliver? When he himself has a transcendental knowledge. He knows exactly what is the position, what is his position, what is Supreme Lord's position, what is the relation, what is the ultimate goal, what he is supposed to do. When he knows, then he can teach to others. If he doesn't know, then how is he going to teach others? So today's world is completely different. That's what we can see. And it is completely opposite in the olden days. That's why Krishna is speaking. Why Krishna is giving transcendental knowledge? He is explaining that. Imam vivasvate yogam praktavan aham abhyam manorikshvakravya pravit. I have spoken this previously because they can, so that they, once the kings can get that, once kings receive this transcendental knowledge, they can protect. They make sure that all living entities, 4 divisions are working harmoniously. They are doing their own duty, not somebody else's duty. So all this is required. When some leader has this transcendental knowledge, then he can guide, he can foresee, he can see and can correct, rectify the mistakes. He can guide all living entities. Otherwise, it's a chaos everywhere. The current leaders, that is the biggest problem. That is the first and foremost lesson we are receiving. So that is the foremost lesson. Then Krishna is talking about why I am giving you transcendental knowledge. I am not speaking to Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana. So many people are there. Why Krishna is speaking to Arjuna only, making him the disciple in the disciplic succession? Because 3 things. First one is 2 things. Bhakta asi sakha rahasyam idam uttama. So Krishna is speaking in 4th verse. Bhakti means one must be a devotee. Otherwise, nobody can understand this. So why he has to give this in ascending order, avaroha pantha, descending order. Knowledge must be received in descending order. It cannot be ascending order, not in aroha pantha. Otherwise, you can never understand this transcendental knowledge. So that's why it is very important to receive in parampara. So that's why Krishna is telling, speaking to you, Arjuna, and because you are my devotee. So that Krishna, Prabhupada also making that comment that why I had to write disciplic succession is broken. Because so many people know, but they interpreted their own. They did their own thing. This has happened in Treta Yuga. Sun God, Vivaswan, I spoke in Treta Yuga, Vivaswan. then Ikshvaku, Manu, Vaivasvata Manu, and then Ikshvaku. This has happened. That time, now knowledge is lost. And then that's why then Prabhupada is saying, yes, not only that time, now I have to translate my Bhagavad Gita as it is. Why? There are 600 plus translations. I have written because everybody interpreted their own things. Everybody wrote their own commentary, own ideas, own thoughts. Not what Krishna wanted, not what Krishna is saying. Because when you know what exactly Krishna is saying, only when you hear through disciplic succession, because this knowledge is not like it. Because if you are a lawyer, then you study through law books, you practice on somebody, then you become a lawyer and you can argue. This, as per this law code, and you can do this thing or not. You can argue. But if you didn't even practice, learn and practice, then how can you be a lawyer? How can you be a doctor? Whatever the profession is. Same way here, he must be a devotee first and foremost. He must be a devotee of the Lord. Then he can talk about it. If Krishna is speaking, if you don't even, if you are not even a devotee of the Lord, then how are you going to understand what exactly Krishna is saying? It is not alphabets. Transcendental knowledge is not alphabets. It is not just information. It is to transform the living entity, transform the Jiva, transform Arjuna and all the living entities. So that's why it is very important. That's why Prabhupada is making that comment. I wrote because again knowledge is lost. Because Krishna spoke one thing and then they are describing something else. So then it's not going to be any use. That's why there is no transformation. So many Bhagavad Gitas are there, but even after reading, they cannot understand anything, and even if they understand something, there is no transformation. Anything you can eat, anything you can do, whatever you do, everything will be the same. So many things they have translated as. So then that is not what Krishna meant. So only when, because Prabhupada has coming through a disciplic succession, through Brahma, today is also appearance day of Srila Madhvacharya. We are coming from Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So Brahma gave to Narada, to Vyasa, to Madhvacharya. In between they are there. Madhvacharya in this way. So coming down from Lakshmipati and Madhavendra Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then 6 Goswamis, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Narottam Das Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, coming down, Bhakti Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, and Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Prabhupada, and Shri Prabhupada, and current disciples of Shri Prabhupada. In this way, knowledge is disseminated through a disciplic succession, unbroken chain of disciplines, because it is understood. Then we also discussed that there is a pratyaksha praman, what you see is what you believe. Then there is a pratyaksha, that what you see. Then next is paroksha. When we receive this knowledge through disciplines, that is paroksha. Then when you apply it, then it becomes aparoksha, realized. You theory you hear, but when you start implementing, putting into practice, then that becomes aparoksha, that is realized. Then when we start implementing, in the beginning realization, but more and more we see, then that becomes adokshaja, that means beyond. Then when we change from this material realm to spiritual and transcendental realm, transcending, we are transcending these modes, passion, ignorance, especially, and goodness, and above goodness, pure goodness we have to come to. Then there is much more. We can realize, we can perceive things, what exactly is the reality, what is not reality, what is fake, what is this material world is actually the mirror image of the perverted reflection of the spiritual world. So that we will realize. That's why adokshaja. And the last step is completely spiritual, absolute, 100%. That is aprakrita. That is aprakata, aprakrita. That is in the spiritual world. So this way, these 5 variations are there in the knowledge category also. So now in this way, Krishna, after explaining these aspects, and we see also from Dhruva Maharaj's story also. Dhruva Maharaj, when he went 6 months, within 6 months, this also. To the degree we surrender, to the degree we pay attention when we are hearing, when we are serving, when we are reading, when we are chanting, to the degree we pay attention to the details, pay attention to this message of the Supreme Lord, to that degree we will progress. Dhruva Maharaj took only 6 months. At 5 years old, he went. Narada Muni gave instruction. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Went to Madhuvan forest, within Vrindavan, 12 forest, one of the forest. 6 months he meditated. Within 6 months, Lord appeared. After 6 months, one day or at the end of 6 months. That's it. Not long. Prabhupada saying, so one can, it is not depending on how long. It doesn't need years and years. It is how much we are sincere. Nivistas. Srimad Bhagavatam. We have to be very determined, very strong in our hearing. When we have to be rapt in attention. We must be pure in our thoughts, actions. All these things are required. It takes time, but it takes some sincerity. That is what it is. Sincerity and dedication. Gradually, once we start developing, then gradually Lord Krishna will give intelligence and strength and power to the degree we want. Free will, he cannot disobey our free will. Free will, he cannot force. That's why he is not giving. Not everybody can come to Krishna consciousness. That Krishna is saying already. Only those who are turning towards him only can come. So that's why it is very important. To the degree we surrender, to the degree. So Dhruva Maharaj, 6 months he could come. So then when he came back, then Lord has given the assurance. Lord, you are going to live 36,000 years. This is in Satya Yuga. Then you are going to rule the kingdom. Your senses will never be, your senses will be always strong. You will enjoy. You will get all the benefits. But at the same time, you will always remember me. And you will get the Dhruva planet. So the pole star is already there. And that will be your planet. And I will be there. That is the actual planet of the Supreme Lord also. It never gets annihilated. That is a special prerogative Dhruva Maharaj received. So many special benefits, even though he went with a material desire. But he worshipped in an honest path. When he was coming back, then we can see what happens when somebody who receives the mercy of the Supreme Lord. This is the result. When somebody receives before he went, what has happened? Suriji has this inimical attitude towards Dhruva. Dhruva also had some ill feeling because Suriji had condemned him. He cannot sit on father lap. And then he went on that with that feeling. Suniti told, yes, what your stepmother told is correct. At least you have to worship Supreme Lord. Then he took that instruction and went, and Narada Muni gave. Then he achieved the goal. When he came back after Lord has blessed him, then complete transformation. Actually, he offered his prayers. In that also he was lamenting. When Lord left also, he was lamenting. He was telling, what I did is wrong. I didn't ask the real thing. I asked all for unwanted things. And this is my, ignorance. This is my, unfortunate position. He was lamenting. A few verses are there. Then anyway, he came. While coming back, then he met his father. Then he met his father. Uttanapada was waiting. He didn't believe. Narada Muni told that your son is going to come glorious. He is coming back with all this. Then his mother, Suriji, also is there. When king went, Suriji, Suniti, all together, everybody went together, the whole family, all the way. Before he comes, he went out of the city and went to greet with all so much festival. Everybody became so jubilant and happy. Then, so what has happened? Suriti also, Dhruva Maharaj bowed down to Suriji also. And Suriji also blessed. May you live long. Suriji also was very happy. Gave the hug and also gave the blessings. How is this possible? Prabhupada is explaining that because this has received transcendental knowledge from Supreme Lord, and also one who has associated with transcendental, one who has associated with Supreme Lord, one who has received the mercy of the Supreme Lord, then automatically everybody will worship him. Everybody will automatically, no inimical attitude. Dhruva Maharaj himself didn't have any, and Suriti also, even though she had, but as soon as one who gets in touch, darshitaha, that word is used, one who's the personality who's overwhelmed with the emotions of the Supreme Lord, devotion to the Supreme Lord, that one who associates, even though previously he may have some inimical tendencies or attitude towards that person, but as soon as he comes in touch with that person, then finished. Those inimical attitude, those things are finished. So it doesn't have. So Suruti completely So became positive actually. She also gave the great blessing. No more inimical attitude. So Sunati obviously blessed also her own mother. So then Uttanapada gave the kingdom. Before there also another instruction is telling that Uttanapada, even though he knows Dhruva Maharaj got a blessing of the Supreme Lord, but he waited. First of all, he himself observed that Dhruva Maharaj is following certain things exactly. Or he took taking it for leisure. So because he doesn't want to give the kingdom just like that. He observed Dhruva Maharaj for a few days, few months, and he also found out, he asked his praja, so what's happening and how he is and everything. And he also asked from his ministers. So this is the duty of the leader. He must observe. He must observe what's going on. He must ask, check with others and verify. Then he has to give. But these days, the leadership positions and all these ministerial posts and everything is topsy-turvy. Everybody, there is no character. There is no rules. So nobody is going by this Shastra. And so everybody is following their own, based on their own enjoyment, power and politics. This is what is happening. So, but it is completely opposite. So that's why when they came there, that time we can, Shastra is explaining that everything is so much. The walls are made of marble, and is made and so many bedecked jewels in the walls also, and everywhere there are so many lakes. To the lakes also they have the staircases made with these marble and jewels. Everything is so much natural abundance. They don't need no machinery, no industries. Everything is so much abundant because the king is ruling as per the scriptural injunctions. He has the he is following dharma, as per the Manu Samhita, as per the Srimad Bhagavatam, and is guided by the Brahmanas. So that's why everything was happening very nicely. Everything was going on. That is the thing we see from Yudhishthira Maharaj, Bharat Maharaj, here also Maharaj Uttanapada when he was ruling, and Dhruva Maharaj came. All this description was given. How the whole country, whole city was so many. All the whatever you see in demigods, planets, all those beautiful trees, plants, different species, different birds, all those not crows. Nowhere it is mentioned crows. It is talking about swans and chakravakas and so many different birds which are only assembled at the clean, pure places. Trees also, variety of trees which are from even heavenly planet. All these were described there. So much, everything is abundant. This is the result of one who's leading by his own example, by following, ruling the kingdom in this way. So anyway, now coming to then further, Krishna is emphasizing, stressing that now Krishna is, Arjuna is asking, how come you are speaking that I have spoken to Vivaswan and Manu and Ikshvaku? How can I understand? You are just, I am your friend and these many years old. How can this be? Then Krishna is, so the qualities Krishna is telling him, you are a devotee and you are my friend. Bhaktos is Sakha, these two things. And it is confidential. And the confidential things I cannot discuss with anybody and everybody. He must be really close, one who understands. That's why he is a devotee, and it also in relationship, friendship. Arjuna is in Sakyaras. Then for him, confidence it is revealed. Otherwise, it is not revealed to anybody and everybody. So that is the reason Krishna is telling. And then Arjuna is asking this. Then Krishna is telling that because I appear in each and every yuga, but you don't know. Bahuvani vatitani vartamanani. I was there previously. I was there in the past, present, and future. But you don't know. On all living entities, I am there. So as Paramatma also. But you don't remember. But I remember. So that's what Krishna is telling. Because your knowledge is covered to carry out. Your knowledge is covered because to carry out my pastimes. To carry out my pastimes by my inconceivable energy. I hold many forms like Vaidurya gem, which displays many colors. So remaining, because Vaidurya is such that it stays, it is a Vaidurya stone, but whatever you put in front of it, the colors change. the emerald or what, ruby, green or red, then it changes the color. Stone is same, but it changes the color. Same way, I take different forms, but I am the same personality, transcendental personality. My body, my mind, everything is spiritual. It is not like us. We have the gross body, then we have subtle body, mind, intelligence, false ego. But it changes. We give up this body and then we take another body, whatever human body or any body we take. Then the gross body, we are giving up this body and we are taking a new body in another mother's womb. When the subtle body is carrying mind and false ego, and then to the next body, based on what impressions we have in this life, we are carrying to the next life. That subtle body is carrying to the next life. But it is material. So it didn't become spiritualized. So, but the Lord is not like that. So now that's why he is describing that next term. Then he's also saying that Parantapa, subduer of the enemy. Because, but even though Arjuna is subduer of the enemy, but he cannot remember what he has done. Even though Krishna is telling, you are also there with me, but you don't remember. So even if he is subduer of the enemy, or however great he may be, he is still Jiva. He cannot remember what he has done in the past life. Forget about past life, even in this life, what we have done also, we don't remember. So that is the position of us. So our Jiva's position is very minute. That's what Krishna is explaining in 4.5. So already 8:19. I will quickly wrap up. So today's verse, Krishna is telling about himself. Now he is coming because he has explained already that I remember, I was there previously, I was there in the past, present and future. I remember everything, but you don't remember. He is telling. So you are also there, but you don't know, you don't remember. You don't remember. So now he has to, why is that so? To believe, to re-emphasize, to reassure, to give confidence. So Krishna is saying about himself, about his position. So that's why he is speaking first verse. Ajopi san abhyatma bhutanam iswaropi san sambhavami atmamaya. Each and every word is important. Aja means unborn. We are also unborn, but we are identifying this material body we want to enjoy separately from the Lord. That's why, otherwise we are spirit souls. Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. Soul is never dies. Soul is never born. Soul is always there eternally. Mamai Vamso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhutat Sanatana. Eternally we are there as separated part and parcels of Krishna. We are eternally there. There is no at point of time, soul is born, soul is gone through. No. Soul is always there. So eternally. So that's what Krishna is telling. Aja, I am unborn, but you are conditioned. So that's why there are three positions are there. We are coming under, the Lord has many energies, so we are coming under marginal energy. We tend to turn towards the Supreme Lord or turn to enjoy ourselves, coming to the material world. So actional energy. So this is what we see in the material, this Prakriti. What we see here is called material manifestation. It is also called Prakriti. It is also called external energy. So we are called marginal energy. We are in between. We choose turn towards the enjoy what things are available in this material world, and we use it for ourselves. But when we use it and turn towards the Supreme Lord, use it in Krishna service, then we turn to the Supreme Lord. So that's why our position is marginal. We are coming under marginal energy. But our quality is Satchidananda, same as the Supreme Lord, quality wise. But quantity wise, we are small, Anu, smallest. Lord is the greatest. Nityo Nityana. He is the one Nitya, eternal Nitya. We are Nityana, many, plural. Nityo Nityanam, Chetana, Chetana. He is the conscious. He has conscious, that's why we have conscious. He has hands and legs, that's why we have hands and legs. It's like a tailor stitching our clothes. Because we give the shirt and pant to him to stitch, then we give the sizes and everything. Then he accordingly cuts the cloth with hands and legs. So because we have, the body has these hands and legs, that's why he is cutting. The hands and legs is making like that. So the Supreme Lord has, so that's why we have it. Once somebody is saying he is Nirakar, he doesn't have a form, then how we get the form? Where we got it from? If something is not there originally in spiritual world, then how we got it? So that's what we have to question. Somebody say, when they say Nirakar, Shastra say Nirakar, that means he doesn't have a material form. He doesn't have a material eyes. He doesn't have anything material. No material mind, no material, everything is spiritual. One. Everything is one from the Supreme Lord. He has mind, he has intelligence, but everything is spiritual, everything is one. There is no gross, there is no subtle. Everything is spiritual, the Supreme Lord. So there is no distinction of gross body, subtle body like that for the Supreme Lord. But for us there is. That we cannot understand. How is that? Yes, that's how. Because we have limited intelligence, we cannot conceive it right now. As we become mature, then we can understand how that spiritual body looks like. How is it possible? So that's why Krishna is telling Aja. It is like Krishna, Prabhupada is giving an example of sun. Sun appears and disappears. Right? Sometimes it is cloud is there. Sometimes it is sunset here, but somewhere else it is sun. Sun is always there. It didn't appear. So God is always there. So God takes many forms. So He may appear in this universe, other universe, in this planet, that planet. So on different forms. Sometimes it's Varaha, sometimes Matsya, sometimes Kurma. Different forms. He's taking different forms, but the personality, actual spiritual body is same. He's taking different forms to carry out his different pastimes. So that that's how we have to understand. Lord is always there and He knows and He remembers. So sun is, because sun is there everywhere. It is sun setting here, but it is somewhere else. So it is always there. God is always there. There is no past. For Him, there is no past, present, future. For us, there is, because it is theory of relative. Everything is relative. We give up this body, we take another body. So then things, there is a time of relativity. So yesterday, day before, that became past, and now it's present, and tomorrow is future. But Lord is always there. He knows exactly everything by minute, everything has happened. So in the context of for us in the past, present, future. But for Lord, there is no past, present, future, because He is always eternally there, eternally cognizant of knowing everything, what's going on. So that is the distinction of the Supreme Lord. So that's why Krishna is saying that Aja, unborn. So Son Abhyayatma is also putting that clause also. Still, even though you are Aja, I am also, then you can think maybe I am also same. No. Abhyayatma. Your body is deteriorating, but my body never deteriorates. So that means you take a bank balance, then you use it, then it depletes. So that's why Isopharshad talks about this in the first place. Om Purnamada Purnamida Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avasishtate. So Lord is complete. Everything coming from Lord is complete. Like we living entities, the trees or plants or animals, birds, whatever, everything is complete. There is nothing incomplete about it. Still He is complete. If it's something, you take out something from somebody, then you think something got deducted. But Lord is not like that. When you are offering food, we are getting the prasad. But is it depleting? No. Prasad is still that food. Even Krishna tasted. Have you tasted? Yes. Because Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimand. He can eat with any of his parts. We have to eat with the hands. But Lord can eat with eyes. Lord can eat with legs. Lord can eat with any of his parts. There is no difference. That's why, because for us there is a difference between hands and legs. No. For him, it is all spiritual. Any part of his body can do anything. So that is the biggest difference. So that's why Krishna is Abhyayatma. It will never deteriorate. That's why you see that when we take birth, how do we take birth? There is nothing. When we are born, no clothes, nothing. But when Lord is born, you can see in Dwarka, Devaki and Vasudeva, how did He born? Devaki saw this four-handed palm of Lord Narayana having all clothes and everything, full jewelry and all ornaments, everything top to bottom. Then Devaki prayed, no, what is this? Then please change your position back, become normal, baby. Then he changed from four-handed Lord Narayana form into ordinary baby position. So that is the difference. Abhyatma, it never deteriorates. It can change, but still is the same personality. You can change appearance, but it doesn't mean that he has a material form. He is like us. He has a material body like us, material eyes like us. No, everything is transcendent. Everything is spiritual for the Lord. That's why Krishna is telling Abhyatma never deteriorates. His body never deteriorates. So for us, we have deterioration of our bank balance, deterioration of whatever, whether it's car, our body, everything. So our skin, everything deteriorates. Our eye vision, our hearing, everything. As our age grows, everything gets deteriorated. That's why we have to be careful. We have to use our time efficiently. Otherwise, time is running out. So we may think we are young, but that's not the case. It's not going to be the case. Just time passes away very quickly. So if you don't act, then time will act. We may not act, but time will act. So result we have to see. Then it will be too late. So that's why Krishna is telling us, Ajopi sanna vyatma sambhavami atmaya. By my own, by how I am appearing, but living entity is being forced to appear. There is no choice. You do certain things in this life and next life you have to appear in certain way, whether it's human being or whatever living species of life we are going to take, depending on what actions we are going to perform, and at the end of life, that is a practical exam on what we are going to remember. Accordingly, we are take up anta kalesh mameva. Yam vav is paran bhavam, what we remember, what we do at the end when we give up this body at last minute. So accordingly, we didn't take up that body. Obviously, practice. Whole life we didn't do anything. Serving or identifying ourselves with the Lord or serving, then what are we going to remember? We will never remember the Lord at the end. So that's a practice. Yes, our regular exams, engineering or intermediate, you may pass, you may skip, you might not have studied it. Somehow you did copy, and then we might have passed with distinction or whatever. Those things can happen in this world, but that cannot happen. That will not happen, or will never happen in the spiritual world. So the only way is by following the process of devotion. So that is the only way we can come, we can cross, we can take up spiritual body, enter into spiritual world. That is the only way. There is no other way about it. So that's what Krishna is telling here. Sambhavami atmaya. By my own sweet will I am appearing. Sambhavami, I am appearing. Atmamaya. Atmamaya is explained in so many different ways. So that's the difference between us. Prabhupada gives simple example. The king and bug both are sitting on the throne. Does it mean that bug is also same as king? No. Even though sitting on the same throne. So yes, the son of Devaki and Vasudeva, Krishna, Vrindavan Krishna, Syamasundar Krishna, Devaki, Mathura Krishna, Dwaraka Krishna. So you name it. So but he appearing like us, has eyes and hands and legs. That doesn't mean it's the same person. Like the king and bug is sitting on the same throne, but bug is not a king. King is king and bug is bug. So same way, sometimes the jailer, superintendent of jailer may come to jail. That doesn't mean that he became a jailer. He is also prisoner. No, he's not a prisoner. He's just coming to visit and see what's going on and how these prisoners are doing, what kind of reformation they are going, and what the result is, and that's what he's checking out, how things are going. That doesn't mean he has become prisoner. Same way, the Supreme Lord may appear in this world, or sometimes may become a fish, take a form of a fish, or a boar, or a pig, or whatever. So many, he can take any form, whatever form he likes. And everything is spiritual. It's nothing material about it. But that doesn't mean, like as I was mentioning, jailer or superintendent, he's not a prisoner. He's not like one of us. He's completely different. His body is spiritual. Even though he may become a pig, or he become a boar, or he become a fish, or he become a whatever, cat or rat or whatever. He can take anything, but still he is spiritual. There is no change in his body, mind, intelligence, qualities, nothing, no change. Appearance, yes, appearance may look different, but actually his transcendental form is always transcendent. That's what here Krishna is stressing that. So ajopi sanna atma, sambhavami atmamaya. So that's what he's telling. Then he's explaining this purpose of his appearance and disappearance. So yada yada hi dharmasya. That dharma means, we will end with this already, we are late. Dharma means, what is dharma means? Natural occupational duty of a living entity. That is actually dharma. A real dharma of a living entity is to engage in Supreme Lord service. That is the actual dharma. Swanustutasya pumsam vishwakshena katasya na utpaded edratim samayevahi kivam. So we must engage in the service of the Supreme Lord. That is actual real dharma. It is not faith. Faith you can change. We may be Hindu, we may be Christian or something. So the actual occupation duty, Prabhupada gives example like water. Liquidity is its dharma. It is a natural characteristic. Same way the living entity, the jiva. So whether it's human being or animal, the jiva, the living entity, its position, natural characteristic is jivera surupoi nityera Krishna. We are eternally part and parcel. Krishna himself is saying in Bhagavad Gita, Mamai Vamsa Jivaloke Jiva Bhuta Sana. We are eternally part and parcel. What will part will do? Like if your hand take out, the hand is supposed to serve. Attached to the body, then it has to engage. Hand cannot think independently. If stomach or if body has to work, then hand has to feed into the mouth, and then body is working. Body is getting energy. The minute hand feels that no, I will not feed, I will not do that, I will do my own thing. Then nothing will work. Hand will not be able to live by own. The rest of the body also will die. So that's why the part has to work with the whole. The minute something falls off from the car, if it is not attached, then it won't work. So it loses its independence, it loses its complete use, it becomes useless. So that's why the real dharma here means yada hi dharmasya. When there is a glani, when there is a disturbance in the natural occupation of a living entity, not one, but many, they create a great disturbance in the society, in the country, in the region, in the planetary system. Then the Supreme Lord comes. Yada hi dharmasya. That's what when he means dharma means no. Oh, when Hindu religion, no, that is actually it is not dharma translated as religion, but actual real meaning of dharma here is the constitutional position, occupational duty of a living entity. That is what Jivera Surupa Nitya Krishna. That is that. So that's why we have to use our propensities to mold ourselves, to somehow draw whatever we have, proclivities, into serving the Supreme Lord, somehow or the other, slowly and gradually. In the association of devotees, as we become more and more, follow the process of Yuga Dharma of this age of chanting the holy name of the Lord, then we will be able to do that. Otherwise, it is very, very complicated, very, very difficult to do that. And we can see that. We will not be able to perform austerity. It will become very difficult. We try to do Ekadasi, we try to do fasting without coming to Krishna consciousness, then it becomes very difficult. Only when we follow Krishna consciousness slowly and gradually, then it becomes easy. Ekadasi is nothing. It is so easy to do. To get up in the morning and chant, so easy to do when we start following in the association of you. But when we think that, I have become a great devotee, and then start doing, I will not take association, I will do my own, then when we take things for granted, then again there will be a slack. Then we will not be able to actually have that power to actually control our senses. We will not have the power to do our sadhana properly. So that's why we need the protection, we need the shield of these sadhus, devotees. We need the shield of chanting, we need the shield of hearing, smaranam. Sravanam, when we do, then there will be smaranam. Sravanam and Kirtanam happens nicely, then there is a smaranam. Otherwise, what we'll remember? We'll remember all the material things. So that's what we'll remember. Not Krishna, not chanting, not holy name, nothing or anything transcendental. Everything will remember all the material things. Past life, this life. So that's what we'll remember, and end of life also, that's what we'll remember when we leave this body also. So that's why Krishna is emphasizing and stressing real dharma. Come back to your real dharma. Otherwise, I appear when there is a serious disturbance. Yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. He is telling, abhyudhanam adharmasya tada atmanam srijamyam. I appear. Then, so I take one of the form and I appear, my transcendental form. Appear. Then also it gives two reasons further also. Yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyudhanam adharmasya tada atmanam srijamyam. Then paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya chatushpatam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami. Appear again and again to give his blessings, because devotees are hankering after his appearance, his association. That's why he appear. Otherwise, he doesn't need to appear. Durga Devi can do the job of annihilating these demons. But that is also there, part of this Navaratri. She killed Mahisasura demon, Mahisasura Mardhani. So Durga Devi killed. So that is also the victory, Vijayadashmi, after killing that, that is also there, part of this Vijayadashmi, Dasara. And so that's why it is. So the Krishna is telling to actually annihilate the demons, but more important is give the shelter to devotees, sadhus, his associates. So and there is no fixed period. Yeah. Srujamyaham is also means no fixed period of my appearance. He can appear anytime. Yes, there is a fixed incarnations. It talks about one day of Brahma. Once Krishna appeared, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears immediately. But other incarnations, Satya, Treta, Dwapara, there is a fixed at certain time. But that doesn't mean Lord is, no, there is no fixed. Lord can appear. There are so many, millions and millions of incarnations. Ramad Murti Shukalayana Nimena Tishtam Nanavataram. So many incarnations. So he can appear in any form at any time. There is no fixed. So Srimad Bhagavatam, what we have is only for this universe. This is the smallest universe. So here, the Lord's glories are unending. Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Lord Balaram, Lord Sankarshan, or Ananta says, is speaking, is endless, is speaking on to four Kumaras at the bottom of the universe. But he is unending, it is not ending. So because his glories are ending, you can write hundreds and hundreds of books, it will not finish. Those many glories. What we have is limited things has been given. This itself we have a hard time reading and understanding. Srimad Bhagavatam, 17 volumes. Oh, 17 volumes. Oh, I thought only one book. Oh, it's so expensive and so many books. Oh, it's so big. Oh, no, I don't want it. But this is only small thing. What we see, this is in the smallest universe we are in. There are so many universes in this material world. We are in the smallest, one of the smallest. Chaturmukha Brahma is ruling, four-headed. He needs four heads to understand this material world. This smallest. Other places he has more heads, other universes. So that is how I imagine our position, teeny position. So that's how we have to understand. We realizing that fact, always be grounded in that understanding and act accordingly. So that's why Krishna is telling, my devotees long to see my form and suffering from not seeing my form. So that's why I appear to annihilate and also to spread the dharma, to spread the bhakti. I myself have to appear. And killing the demons, obviously, to give liberation, even though he is killing, but for Kamsa, he got eternal position back, not Sarupya. Some got Sarupya, not Sayujya, but some got Sarupya, depending on what they were in the previous life, also, all those matters, his consciousness and everything, many things matter. So, that any questions, quick questions? Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. Gandhara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Shri Gopal ki jai, Gaur Bhaktan.